guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we are doing 3 different single serving recipes, all using a chicken thigh. All right, if you're new here, hi, I'm Claire. Welcome. Coming in, make yourself comfortable. If you like single serving recipes, if you like vintage recipes, if you like slow cookers and rice cookers and things like that, be sure to hit subscribe because that's what this channel is all about. Today we are back with some more single serving recipes, and today we're using chicken thighs. I like them because they are generally the most sort of like cost effective piece of chicken. However, if you're watching this and you're like, wow, I hate thighs, like use a chicken tender, use a chicken breast. All of the recipes I'm sharing for my thighs today will be good with other cuts. So don't limit yourself if you're not a thigh person like I am. With that, I'm hungry. Let's make this thigh. Our first recipe is to make a really tasty stuffed chicken thigh, and I'm stuffing it with a cheese stick because this is a great way to single portion out cheese because they stay good for so long. We're gonna use a cheese stick, but you could use shredded mozzarella as well. That would work fine, or even like a slice. I've also got some minced garlic. You could replace this with garlic powder if you want to, or omit it completely. I've got a little bit of Parmesan cheese. I've got a drizzle of olive oil. We're gonna use Italian seasoning, salt and pepper. I also have this bell pepper, and I really needed to use it. It's starting to get a little wrinkly, and I'm a girly who doesn't like to waste things because that costs money when you waste food. So I'm going to use a bell pepper. If you're a bell pepper fan, this is going to be very tasty. However, if you don't want to use the bell pepper, pick a veggie that you like. You could also dice up a tomato. You could throw an onion in there. The first thing I'm gonna do is cut up my pepper. I'm gonna use probably like a quarter of this. I'm gonna use the rest of that in my dinner, I guess, because I really don't want to waste it. And I'm gonna cut this up quite small. Whatever vegetable you're choosing, make sure the bits are small. Unless it's something that's in a can that's already been like cooked or whatnot. You're gonna want your bits to be small so that they cook all the way. All right, now we're gonna pound out our chicken thigh, and you don't need a meat mallet or anything special to make this happen. You're gonna spread out your thigh. Also, even though I don't show it, I'm always washing my hands when I'm cooking with raw meat. All right, now I'm gonna take just a little bit of plastic wrap and cover my chicken. I don't even own a meat mallet. I use a rolling pin. Just pound that bad boy out until it's nice and thin. All right, there we go. You see, it is pounded out. It's thinner, but it's not like paper thin. Now I'm gonna throw a little pepper on it and a little salt. Now we're gonna flip it over and do the same thing. A little salt, a little pepper. Now I'm gonna do a nice healthy shake of Italian seasoning on there. I'm gonna throw in about half a teaspoon of this minced garlic. Now for our cheese, and it's not the end of the world if your chicken is not the perfect shape to wrap around it, okay? We're gonna stick it in the middle and we're gonna close it up, but it is gonna be fine. And we're gonna throw our peppers all alongside there as well, and we're gonna put the rest of them on top. Now we're gonna try and close it on up. And I'm gonna use some toothpicks just to help close this. Now I'm going to just put a little bit of parm on top. All right, it's time to cook this stuffed thigh, and I have chosen the air fryer today because it is fast and easy and I don't have to heat up the whole oven. And you should also use your air fryer. If you don't have an air fryer, or if you don't want to use your air fryer, you can absolutely use a toaster oven or the oven. Standard like 350 for, I don't know, probably 25 minutes, 30 minutes, somewhere around there. Just be sure your chicken is 165 degrees and then you'll be safe. In the air fryer, it's gonna take way less time. So it's going to take about 15 minutes in the air fryer at 380. But again, use a thermometer, check it. Once it's 165, you're good to go. I'm gonna drizzle a little olive oil on top. And then I'm just gonna pile the rest of these on because I wanna eat them, you know, with my chicken. Oh my gosh. Oh, it smells so good. This looks like restaurant food, I'm not gonna lie. Oh my gosh, look at that. Look at this gorgeous thigh, okay? We have done it. Cooked to perfection. Look at that. Amazing. All right, you guys, it's the next day and I'm running low on time, and I thought it would be the perfect time to show this recipe with our thigh because it's barely a recipe. It's more just like a hack of putting things together, which I guess is what a recipe is, but you'll see what I mean. It's barely a recipe. You're going to need a chicken thigh. You're going to need a tortilla or a wrap or whatever. This is great. Use the one you like. I go to Aldi because I really like cheap food. And a Caesar salad kit, okay? And I know what you're thinking. A whole Caesar salad kit for one serving? That's not a good idea. I'm gonna show you how I do it so that it is a good idea. And we're also gonna need like salt, pepper, a little bit of oil. So let's get going because I'm hungry and I got a lot to do. All right, the first thing I'm gonna do is cut up this chicken, and it's just actually for the sake of time. You can totally leave your chicken whole. However, I want this to be ready in a few minutes. And if you cut up the chicken, it's gonna cook way faster. And since, if you haven't guessed already, we're putting it in a wrap, I'm just gonna season this with salt and pepper. If you wanna add other seasonings to it, go for it. Now I'm actually just gonna cook it in a pan. If you don't have a stovetop, you could do this in an air fryer. You could also cook a chicken breast or thigh, or really any cut of chicken, in a slow cooker or a rice cooker. There are other ways besides the stove if you need a different way, but I'm doing it this way. All right, while that is starting to heat up, let's talk about the salad kit. I get the salad kits from Aldi. They're not always the best deal compared to just buying like a bunch of romaine lettuce. However, I love the convenience of all the bits already in there. The dressing, the croutons, the cheese packet, amazing. However, since we're only gonna do one serving of this, do not make it according to the package instructions. You're gonna pull out your little packets, and we are only going to mix the amount that we need. That way we can just wrap this back up and make another one tomorrow or the next day. They're usually good for a couple of days. All right, and I'm not even really gonna measure this. I'm gonna say a handful of lettuce. So then we're just gonna put a couple croutons. Set these aside for next time. We're gonna mix in just a little bit of cheese. You really only need a couple of teaspoons for this size, okay? And put that aside for later. I promise I'm not neglecting the chicken over here. Give it a little stir. Give it a little toss, and I'm just gonna fold these up. I'm just gonna put these right back in the little bag that they came in. And like, if things get a little messy in there, it's not the end of the world. It doesn't need to stay perfect, but I'm not gonna dirty another dish. I'm not going to use a Ziploc bag. You could if you wanted to. And now we have it nice and fresh for another day. Honestly, cooking chicken like this really just takes a couple minutes. It's about 5 minutes in the pan. All right. Throw our lettuce in there. You know what, now that I'm looking at this, I am gonna hit it with a little bit of Italian seasoning. Not totally necessary, but I think it's gonna make it just a little bit more flavorful. Throw our chicken on there. All right, now it's time to wrap. You're just gonna make a little present out of it. Fold your ends in. I don't really know the difference between a burrito shape and a wrap shape. I feel like a wrap is more round and a burrito is more rectangular. Tell me in the comments, is this a wrap or a burrito? In my mind, it looks like a burrito, but I know it's a wrap. Anyway, there it is. We've done it. A delicious chicken Caesar wrap. And it took literally like 5 minutes to make. It's delicious. We've got veggies, we've got carbs, we've got protein. This is totally gonna keep me satisfied until dinner time. All right, you guys, day 3, I have my last thigh here to use. And today's recipe is going to be a super simple chicken and rice dish. If you're not new here, then you know what it's time for. The rice cooker. This is Jasmine, my beloved rice cooker. I love it. I will leave a link to this one down below, but you can use any rice cooker or you can make this on the stove. If you don't have a rice cooker, it's not the end of the world. There's other methods, use the stove. However, I love Jasmine, so we are absolutely gonna be using her today. So we've got our thigh. We have some white rice, but you could use quinoa, brown rice, whatever kind of grain that you're into. I have a ton of this, so I'm going to use it. My veggie, I have a little bit of this zucchini that I have to use up. But again, use whatever vegetables that you like. You could do frozen broccoli. You could do the rest of that bell pepper. I did eat it for dinner last night, so I don't have the rest of the bell pepper, but you could use a bell pepper if you like. I think zucchini is a good choice because the seasoning we're using today is lemon pepper. I only have a little bit of it left. I need to make sure that I put that on my shopping list because I love lemon pepper. It is a great seasoning to have on hand because it's salty, it's peppery, it's lemony, it's all the things. And I think that it goes really well. Like citrus is totally a vibe with zucchini. So if you've never tried that combination, you should. And those are all the ingredients. I mean, it's really, really simple. So well, let's get it cooked up. I find that one rice scoop, it's too much for me for one serving. I never finish it, especially because we're gonna have a lot of protein with the thigh. I'm actually not gonna use the cup. I'm gonna use just 1/4 cup of rice and 1/4 cup of water. And I am gonna wash the rice. All right, now I'm just going to cut up my zucchini. And honestly, I do love zucchini and I always grow a ton of it in the garden. So definitely sort of later in the season here, I will start cooking with it a lot more often. This one, obviously, I had to buy at the store as all my zucchini plants are just starting to sprout. Now I'm just going to put it right in with my rice. Just gonna give it a little stir. There's also quite a bit of moisture in a zucchini as well, so I am not worried at all about that rice ratio. All right, now for our lemon pepper, but probably like 1.5. It is quite salty, so you don't wanna overdo it there. But we do have, you know, a whole piece of chicken in here that we want to get nice and seasoned as well. Grab your thigh, and you don't need to cut this. Just spread it out right on top. And I'm just gonna put a little bit more of that seasoning right on top of the chicken, just so it can really soak in that nice flavor. So this rice cooker is automatic. All you have to do is flip it over to the cook function. It heats it to a specific temperature, and then it will switch over to warm when the rice is done. Every time I've ever done chicken, just one cycle, it really doesn't matter what I put in there, the chicken's always done. But again, 165 is that magic number if you want to make sure that it's, you know, done and safe. And that's all. I'll come back when it's done. All right. As you see, the chicken is perfectly cooked. It just breaks right apart. No problem. All right, not totally necessary, but I did have some in the fridge. I'm throwing a little bit of fresh parsley on here. I don't really feel like fresh parsley tastes like a lot, but I think that it smells good and it looks pretty. So we're gonna do it. There we go. Look at that. Look at that hearty rice bowl. Only a few ingredients. I wish the zucchini was from my garden, but it will be next time I make this. It's so good. If you take anything from this recipe, it's that you should be using lemon pepper more often than you are, because it's so tasty. All right, you guys, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope I gave you some inspiration to use those chicken thighs in a smart way. A very versatile ingredient, very affordable, and totally easy to make single servings out of. Let me know what you think, leave me a comment, and of course, come on back for more of this type of content. And I'll see you guys in my next one. Thanks for watching. Bye.